Hello, good evening everybody. I thought I would come to you this evening and do a quick video. It's kind of a spur of the moment, so I am coming to you with with a numb mouth. See, I can't smile. I had to get at a dentist today and have some work done this evening, so I'm a little numb still. But anyway, so that's why my mouth's a little droopy. Anyways, so I am going to be doing a video. I want to see how I can share this with Susan. I'm not sure how I do it. Guest requests, your viewers. Okay. Join you as a guest in your broadcast. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. Anyway, okay, Susan, I don't know how to add you on here. Ooh, that brightened me up. So, okay. All right, so anyway, I'll just do it. So I'm making potato soup tonight. It is a very cold and raw day here in Pennsylvania, and we are anticipating a snowstorm on Wednesday. They just told us we might be in for about 10 inches or so. So, whoa, I know. So anyway, so I thought, why not do some potato soup? So the potato soup I'm doing for you today is a little bit different. It's a very old-fashioned potato soup, and it's one that my mom always made. Susan and I always do recipes that our mom made. And I've done other potato soups, and one of my son's favorite is baked potato soup, and that I've got from a crock pot cookbook, and it's very good. But this is just an old-fashioned, plain, simple, easy type of potato soup that will warm your bones on a cold day. So what I have going for you is, for my potato soup, I will let you know what I've got prepared for you. So I'm going to turn my camera around. Hello, Monica. Hey, Katie. Hey, Susan is watching. Hey, guys. So I'm looking a little rough today. I had some dental work, so I'm numb on this side, so a little weird. So, but anyway, that's what soup's good today. I'm going to turn this camera around so I can show you what I prepared for potato soup. So here we go. So what I've done is, in a bowl, I've taken about 2 pounds of potatoes. I've chunked them up pretty large, you can see. You don't want them too small. And I have minced up really fine about a half a cup of onion. And then my mom always put in celery too. I don't have celery tonight, so I'm going to use some celery seed instead to kind of give it that flavor, because I don't have any celery. But if you do, you can also add in a half a cup of chopped celery to this. So what I did is I took my potatoes, my onions, and my, if you have celery, salt and pepper, and 3 tablespoons of flour, of all-purpose flour. And I put it in here, and I stirred my potatoes up in it, right? So my flour's in here and everything. Now, when my mom taught us to make it, right, my mom would have us make a roux. I'm sorry, I got off my bowl. My mom would have us make a roux. And, we've kind of learned a little faster ways for making roux, because roux can be temperamental, mixing your flour and your water or your milk and getting all the lumps out and that kind of thing. So this is a really good, quick way to do your roux. If you just take, because your potatoes are already wet and moist, and so are your onions, if you throw your flour in it and you toss it around in it and cover it really good, your flour is in there and it's not going to lump up on you. So that's a good tip. I've got some water set aside. You're also going to need a can of Carnation or whatever type of evaporated milk, about a 12-ounce can. And so I've got that set aside. And so that's really all you're going to need. You can also add to this bacon and cheese when you are done. And who does not love bacon and cheese? So I have fried up about 5 strips of bacon that I'm going to crumble. And I have got some shredded cheddar cheese. So you can use that to top it with. So what I have in my pot here is I have taken a stick of butter, one whole stick of butter, and I have melted it in my pot. So I'm going to turn my pot on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my potatoes and onions and everything to this pot. So I'm going to put you guys down for just a second here, if I can. Whoops. Let me turn it back around. Sorry, I'm not very dexterous. Okay, there. So I'm going to scrape my bowl here just so I can make sure I've got all my flour in it, so it's going to thicken up really good. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to toss these potatoes around in my butter and kind of get them coated really good with some of that butter and kind of get them in there. Just like that. I've got my oven on to get it hot. So I'm just kind of stirring my potatoes in there with my butter. So the next thing you're gonna want to do is once you get all of this mixed in there really good, make sure it's kind of, the bottom is scraped really good there. Okay. All right. So once you've got that in there, and I'm going to show you my pot here. So I've got it all in there. It's cooking. So now what you're going to do is you're going to add enough water to cover your potatoes. Just enough. Just enough water to cover up those potatoes. So I'm going to add my water. Let's see how much that is. Let me stir it up. And I'm not really measuring my water. I'm just kind of like just pouring it in there until I can just see that my potatoes are covered. And they are. Okay, so stir your potatoes up in there. Just like that. I might add just a tad bit more. Just a little bit. There you go. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to let this come to a boil. And so you're going to stir it and stir it. And you're going to let your potatoes cook. I'm going to turn my flame up on high. So if you hear a roar, that's my gas stove. So you're going to bring this to like, get this warm in here. And then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to add in your canned milk. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about canned milk while we're waiting on the potatoes to come up to a boil. One thing about canned milk is back in the day, heavy cream and whipping cream was really difficult to come by, especially if you didn't live on a farm or, you know, you didn't have your own dairy farm or whatever, and you didn't have access to it. It was quite expensive. And it is today, actually. You know, if you go to the grocery store, I'm going to turn my camera around here. If you go to the grocery store, you'll see that a carton of, you know, heavy cream is like $6, you know, or $5.50 or something like that. It's not cheap. And then, you know, you got to make sure that you use it all by the date and that kind of thing. So one of the shortcuts for being able to afford heavy cream or heavy cream or whipping cream is to use evaporated milk. Evaporated milk is going to give you a more creamy consistency. It's not as thick as heavy cream, but it's also thicker than your regular whole milk. And it's cheaper. So you can buy this for like, you know, sometimes on sale at the store, you can get it for 50 cents a can. You know, if it's on sale, or, you know, $1 a can or something like that. Also, another thing that I use evaporated milk for is I use it in my gravy, for my biscuits and gravy. So instead of using my regular gallon jug milk, I use a can of evaporated milk. And what I do is I empty my can of evaporated milk, I fill it up with water, and I add a can of water to that. And it just makes your gravy so much richer and so much more creamier. And that's what it's going to do for this soup. So I always have, anytime I go to the store, I always have evaporated milk on hand. And for people who are new at cooking, you got to be careful, because this is not sweetened condensed milk. This is evaporated milk. I can't tell you how many times I've sent my kids to the store and they've came back with sweetened condensed milk. You don't want that. That's sweet stuff. That's like dessert stuff. No. This is your evaporated milk that's plain. So, Susan says, Jennifer, I have Mom's potato soup recipe. I thought you had it. So, this is it. So, I'm using Mama's potato soup recipe. All right. So, what I'm doing is I'll put my potatoes in, and they're starting to bubble a little bit. I'm going to turn it around. And I thought I was going to turn it around. Okay, here we go. So, it's starting to bubble some. So, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to add my can of milk to this. It's my can of milk. I'm going to pour it in. And guys, you also have to be careful with milk because milk will scorch really easily if you get it too hot and you don't stir it. So you just got to make sure that you're stirring it. So see, you can kind of see this consistency here. And what's going to happen is as this cooks, the flour's going to cook up in it. Some of the potatoes will also break down a little bit, and it will also help to thicken your soup. So that way you'll have that. And because I don't have any celery, I'm going to add, like I said, a little bit of celery salt. If I can get it open. Maybe. Aha. Here we go. I'm not really like, I don't use celery salt a whole lot, but I'm just going to sprinkle some in it. Just to make sure that it's kind of getting that good flavor. I like the flavor of celery salt. So, and what I can do is taste it later just to see how it's tasting. All right. Here we go. So I'm going to let that stir. And it takes a few minutes for potatoes to cook. So I'm going to show you, and I've showed you before, my mom's recipe book that she made for me. And so here's my soup recipe. And I'll put the recipe on here for you as well, but this is it right here. So essentially what you're doing is you're melting your butter in a large pot. You're going to add your potatoes, enough water to cover, bring it to a boil, stirring your milk, reduce it and simmer, and cook until your potatoes are tender, right? And then what's going to happen is as this cooks, this soup is going to thicken, and you can taste adjust it with salt and pepper as you want to. And when it's done, you're going to serve it with on top with some bacon and some cheese. If you so desire, you can do some scallions if you want, like some green onions, and you can chop those up and add that to it if you want to. This soup is very forgiving. You can do a lot of different things. But this, guys, this is all there is to this soup. And like I said, Susan and I grew up having this, and nothing was better, you know, on a cold winter day than coming home and having Mama have made potato soup and a big old pan of cornbread, and we just feasted because it was so good. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to turn this back around. I'm going to continue letting my potatoes cook. And they're probably going to cook like this for about another 20 minutes or so. And I'm just going to keep them stirred up really good. And another thing that you can do with this too, by the way, is if you don't like the consistency, like if you feel like your potatoes, you've got too many potatoes or something, you can always use like an emulsion blender. If you have one of those emulsion blenders to put in it, you can put it in it for just like a pulse or two to kind of puree up some of those potatoes and thicken it up, and then have, you know, leave some potato chunks in it. So you can do that too if you want to, if you don't like the bigger chunks. We always had the bigger chunks of potatoes, and they were just lusciously good. So, guys, again, for this recipe, you're just going to need a stick of butter, about 2 pounds of sliced potatoes, cut into about 1-inch cubes. You're going to need a can of evaporated milk, about a half a cup of chopped celery, a half a cup of chopped onion, and some salt and some pepper. And that's all she wrote. So you're going to put it in here. Oh, I'm sorry, 3 tablespoons of flour, right, for your roux. And so again, all I did was toss that flour in my potatoes, my celery, my onion, and got that flour all absorbed in there. And I melted my stick of butter and poured it all in this pot and added my can of milk and enough water to cover the potatoes. So, and like I said, you're just letting it cook until the potatoes are done. And so you can see it's coming to a nice boil now. So I'm going to turn it down just a little bit because milk will boil over really quick as well if you don't watch it. So I'm going to turn it down on a more of a simmer. I'm going to let it do its thing. It's going to thicken up all by itself because it's got that wonderful flour in it. And when it's done, we are going to sit down and have us some wonderful potato soup on this cold Pennsylvania night. I hope all of you are doing well and staying safe during the coronavirus. And I wish all of you guys a wonderful holiday season. Susan and I will probably be coming back to you again here shortly to do some other holiday baking types of things. I know Susan did a couple of things. I'm wanting to do a cake that my mom always has done at the holidays. It's near and dear to our heart. And so I'm going to be coming back to do that cake probably for you in the next couple of days. I will try to give you a heads up on our page when I'm going to do it. And that way you guys can tune in if you would like to. But I wish you all very well. And it's nice to see all of you. Thank you for tuning in and happy cooking, everybody. Bye-bye.